Good morning.
This was supposed to have no script because I wanted it to be cool and candid, but after several mind-blank head-empty attempts, here we are. My name is Tensa, and what you're watching right now is the follow-up to a video I made on a slightly bigger channel than the one I'm uploading this to. It's not essential viewing for this one, but it sure would help. This is pretty much a bonus Q&A/discussion video because I feel like I've been due some kind of candid thing like this for a while. If you're not one of my viewers or read my webcomics or follow me on Instagram or any of that stuff, I genuinely have no idea why you'd stay to watch this, but I will gladly confiscate your watch time. My video was about terrible white people and the art they make. It was essentially the longer video form of an essay I posted to Instagram called Barbenheimer and the Collapse of Hollywood. This was my great anti-Hollywood propaganda piece, and it's been more than a long time coming. A lot of the talking points from it were stuff that was originally going to be in my Orson Welles video before I decided to go with the more existentialist approach to that one that I did. Speaking of which, both videos are my most highly researched, highly produced. They're also my longest. They also flopped royally, and there might be a lesson in that. The production for this one was wild. I mean, it's always wild. But this one was maybe the most unwell I've been working on a video, mentally. People, it's been a time. It has been a very interesting few months. And I've been getting a little bit of stress from each and every corner of my life, which is compounded with the chronic anxiety I've always already had, and it low-key kinda flattened me mentally. School stuff, life stuff, also increasing existential dread about what it is that I'm even doing here. Patrons, you get a bonus section where I go into all of that. This video was even going to be sponsored, believe it or not. It was a sponsored video, but due to some stuff that didn't work either, it has been a time. Anyways, I asked my audience to send me some questions about the video and any and everything else. Let us see the results of that. What is the most meaningless film that you've ever watched? Starting off real strong with this one. All films have meaning, whether deliberate or not. Even if it's the most soulless corporate cash grab, you can take it apart and unpack something there. I think there is a lot that can be told about a people by breaking down art made for them that truly lacks any creativity. Who was this made for? What is considered safe by this society? Or even on the extreme other end, you have something that someone really tried with, but it fell completely flat on its face. There's something to be discovered there too. Who made this? Why did it derail so stupendously? Like, every film is someone's favorite film. I don't think I've ever seen a film that I would call completely and utterly meaningless. What is your favorite soundtrack from a film? Well, besides all the mid-century Italian Ennio Morricone, Piero Piccioni type soundtracks I listen to and score all my videos to, usually without actually watching the films, I'd say maybe Akira. Feudal Japan yet synthwave 80s, cold and mechanical yet deeply spiritual, dystopian and often frightening yet beautiful and uplifting. Oppenheimer's a recent favorite though. What movie made you say WTF at the end and it's a good thing, without too much graphic content? I don't know many good twists, but actually that's not true. Maybe Last Temptation of Christ. That one left me in tears and I literally had to close the laptop and have a good cry. I think those who consider the film blasphemous tapped out before the ending. Or they just don't care and all that stuff that happened before was just a bit too much. Not biblically accurate Jesus. Do you fool Carti? It started out as ironic because his music is so good for memes. But then at the end of the year, Spotify told me that he was one of my 5 most streamed artists. The man has some issues though, John Lennon disease. Do you fool Ken Carson? Do you fool Chief Keef? Do you fool Pink Pantheress? She's alright. Does it jiggle? Sometimes. What's your favorite and least favorite film movement? Also, while I'm here, your video on Orson Welles is probably my favorite essay on YouTube. Super entertaining and informative, essential work. Thank you. Oh my god. As much as the view counts may have hurt my soul, it was very well received generally by those who watched it. There's definitely things in it that I would have changed had I done it now, but I do appreciate that those who have seen it overwhelmingly have expressed appreciation for it. Favorite movement? Traditionally, I'd say the new Hollywood movement of the 1970s. But I have genuinely gotten tired of American movies, even the based ones. Every Shaq New Wave film I've seen has put a spell on me, but I've only seen like 5. Though I do need to research about the socio-political background. I don't know what's happening there. But aesthetically, I don't know, something about those films just kind of goes right to my soul. Least favorite film movements just by nature are going to be based, and I'm always gonna love that. So I don't think I dislike any movements, though there are definitely trends that I dislike. And I'd say my least favorite trend, besides the remake, reboot, sequel era of the late 2010s and early 2020s, I'd say whatever the hell was going on in the 80s through 90s America. It's not an ideological thing, it's just an aesthetic thing. I don't know, I just don't like how they look. Oh, also early 2000s American movies. All of my lecturers seem to have come of age around that time, so now whenever I watch an early 2000s / late 90s American movie, it feels like homework. Are you interested in Indian movies? Indian cinema is a huge part of Indian culture, and I would love for it to get more love in the West. I would too. I am interested in them, but I haven't seen that many. Every time I watch one, I promise myself I need to see more. It's just that the run times are always so long. And I'm not one to complain about long run times, but it's just the amount of time that I have to watch films has been thinning and thinning as I've been doing more and more stuff. But believe me, I know that Indian cinema is a whole beast and a half, and I need to get on top of that even more. In terms of your videos, what do you feel is the thing you could most improve with? You see, the key word here is most. There's nothing I could not improve on with my videos. With each video, I try to step it up one level, but yeah, literally everything. But in terms of technical stuff, I've always had problems with sound mixing for some reason. In terms of the essays themselves, as I suggested in my last video, I think I have reached the limits of what I am capable of doing by myself, so I think I really just need to reach out more, seek more collaboration, whether it's have other people read through my stuff or offer their insights, or even have people co-write scripts. I love the new video. Also, yes, I would really want to see you do the Chaplin Retrospective video. Chaplin heads in the chat, let's go! I have a few retrospectives that I have in mind. I don't know when exactly I would do the Chaplin one. /if. I don't know if he's challenging enough. If anything, I want to do a Chaplin retrospective because I don't think enough people know how cool he was in the things he was cool about. Not everything, because again, if you watch Orson Welles' video, there's a lot about Charles Chaplin that was not very cool. And I cannot idolize him or anyone else for that matter. But the next retrospective that I have in mind in terms of like an artist is one of Shuji Terayama, the avant-garde Japanese poet, playwright, filmmaker, photographer. Just there's a whole story there that I'd like to explore, but even then I don't know when I'll release that. Definitely not this year, but I definitely do want to do more retrospectives on artists like that one. If anything, just less individualistic than the way that I approached Orson Welles' essay, which was, you know, like really the larger idea I was getting at with that one. I have 2 questions. 1, do you still watch movies for fun, or do you now mostly watch them to help create your videos? 2, what's the most fun thing about drawing? To question 1,
I don't know.
I don't know. I love this question because I truly don't know how much fun I have consuming media. In general, I don't know how much fun I've had consuming media for a long time. Before YouTube, I have always had a sort of academic approach to my media. Like, I grew up watching old black and white Mickey Mouse cartoons, like as a literal like 8-year-old child, for education, because I wanted to be an animator and I wanted to know what that's all about, and that has kind of been how I have been. And it's also probably autism, but I've always grown up kind of having this academic approach to the media I consume, and especially now that I am doing YouTube and stuff, and since I started doing like reviews on Instagram, for example, I genuinely don't know how much I consume for my own benefit or for content or for what, because like I watched all the MCU films because I wanted to be able to say something about them, right? Like I did not like when the whole MCU was big and poppin' and everyone didn't hate it, I somehow managed to always avoid them. But in 2020 I just decided, you know what, every Saturday I'm gonna watch through the entire MCU. And so I watched the whole thing up to Endgame. Like that wasn't necessarily for like fun. I watched them because I wanted to have something to say about them. I want to like educate myself. I want to have some perspective. And you know, when I started making videos and doing research for videos, it gets very blurry. Like for example, even now I'm rewatching Boy Meets World, which is one of my favorite comfort shows, and I'm doing it for content. You know, like it's like when I watch an episode and Eric does something funny, instead of laugh, I will get my phone out and write a timestamp.
No, it's you, get lost.
The only thing I maybe consume purely for fun at this point is YouTube. And even then, now I used to watch video essays all the time. Now I can't even watch those without thinking about content like, oh my god, what are they doing that I'm not doing? What can I improve on? What is, you know. What's the most fun thing about drawing? Drawing isn't fun. At this point, I've been drawing for as long as I can literally think of, and at this point, drawing for me is like breathing. I don't think I'd call it fun because I don't actively look forward to drawing anymore. But I also feel like if I don't draw, I will die. I guess since I'm doing YouTube and I've had less and less time to draw, I've started to enjoy drawing a little bit. It's not one aspect of drawing, it is the whole process of birthing something with your own hands exactly as you want. Well, not exactly, but you know. Creating something, an image, complete that only you can create with all your mistakes, all your little wobblings, all your, you know, something that only you can bring into the world. You know, there's something really, I don't know, like deeply human and divine and spiritual, and I don't know. it's fun. What started the idea of the new Butler comics? Love your videos and the comics are a nice read. Oh my god, someone asked about the new Butler. The new Butler came from a concept that I had in my head at the age of 15, when around the time I had decided to ruin the entire rest of my life by saying I will always be actively involved in some kind of art project because school was actively starting to eat my soul. And so I said I resolved to always be working on something. And so just thinking about how to create a story concept out of anything, I said, you know, let me write a story about washing dishes. That's a story. What's the story? A little guy is washing dishes and he's terrible and he's breaking all of them, but there's a one dish that he shouldn't break, and in an attempt to not break that one dish, he destroys the people's house. And there I just crafted up the first storyboard of the new Butler, and I showed it to some friends. They found it hysterical, and I decided this is what I'm gonna do while I'm in university. For the past 2.5 years now, I have been drawing this thing. Another reason why I created it was because I'd never done a multi-story comic before. It was always one shot, so I was like, you know what, let me flex my muscles, let me see what ideas I have, and I created a story that would allow me to experiment with different genres, different styles, different aesthetic from arc to arc, and keep me active with drawing. If it wasn't for the new Butler, I wouldn't have drawn in a long time. Like, as much as I don't like being stressed out, without the new Butler, I would not still be as actively involved in making comic books as I have been. Yes, also at the time I was inspired by lots of when I was like 15, I was watching a lot of Charlie Chaplin, Buster Keaton short films. Another one of those things I just spoke about where I decided to watch a Charlie Chaplin film every morning before I went to school. And so the whole tradition of physical slapstick comedy was fresh in my mind. I just implemented that into the comic. Like, the new Butler is pretty much just my take on Charlie Chaplin. The Butler is pretty much a tramp character. And the stories are pretty much just me projecting my frustrations with being a creative person in an environment which does not foster it. I wanted a space to kind of express how it feels to be a creative person under circumstances which actively seek to undermine you. I think the tagline that I have of the comic is a story for brilliant people in unbrilliant circumstances. My only question for you, Tensai, is bro, why do you change your video title so much once a new video gets posted? I think every title you put and redone suits them well, but I just want to know, like, your mental process when it comes to titling your videos. Short answer, algorithm. Long answer, when you see your favorite YouTubers change up their titles and thumbnails, that usually means the video is doing poorly. Or at least it's not getting the numbers or the reception that they were looking for. It's the FD signifier method. It usually helps. Sometimes it doesn't. I changed my Orson Welles video title and thumbnail like 10 times within like a week. I don't agree with your conclusion in the Succession segment. Oh my god, it's a comment that's actually related to the video. Armstrong gives the audience all the tools to sympathize with the sad rich protagonists. It's true, that is to say they are not one-dimensional creeps doing it for the lulz. But he punishes the audience if they don't stay mostly objective. Every time you get too comfortable thinking a character may not be unredeemable because, oh, it's daddy that's mean, he reminds you that they are selfish people who will throw away all stated beliefs out the window for their own desire. Because narcissists all have a reason for being as they are, but they can't self-reflect enough to change how they treat others. So ultimately it doesn't matter. If you watch Succession to indulge in rich people wish fulfillment, you walk away disappointed, even hurt. Notice that the characters best positioned to be audience surrogates in this way, Tom and Greg, are portrayed as buffoons, our rich protags bully, laugh at, and use. If you watch it, the cognitive empathy that allows you to relate to their humanity while simultaneously holding in contempt their hypocrisy and cancerous effect on society, then the whole show is a fun, satisfying ride. Here's the thing about this take is that this is actually exactly how I felt about the show when I watched it. When I actually watched the episodes as they were airing last year, especially the ending. But the way that the ending was received both online and by people I know in real life actually might have been what first birthed the concepts of the essay. Because I won't spoil because it's been a year, but I know many people still have not watched Succession. The show ends with a certain character getting in the way of another character achieving their goal. But what I found interesting about the ending and how it was received online that week was that all the anger, all the aggression, all the frustration was being directed at the character who got in the way of the other character. We, as the audience, are being fed at every step of the way that all of these characters are terrible people, right? Like, that is the whole point of the show. But even now, I will see people boldly proclaim that these certain characters should have gotten what they wanted and that they were promised this thing for all this time and it was unfair. Yes, the audience is being attacked, as you know, I will agree that it is important to attack your audience sometimes, but it's where the aggression is directed by the audience is what I find to be a bit you know, which is why, like, the text of the show is perfect. Like, of all the stories that I spoke about in the video, Succession is probably the best written. It is actually like spotless. It is immaculate. It is doing everything it should. But the way that the audience responded like really got me thinking about the larger context and what the experience of watching a show like Succession is. I saw this meme on that week of white people when Succession and Barry are ending on the same day. But it's like, Succession really is a white people's show. Like, up to just recently, I did a presentation in a class where I mentioned Succession as being the top rated TV show of the past few years. Literally, only one person in the entire class had even heard of Succession, right? Succession is very much a show from a certain culture, for a certain kind of people, being told a certain kind of way. And it's not even so much that what's wrong, quote unquote wrong, with Succession is the writing or how it treats the characters, but it is the whole packaging of having us roll with these characters in the first place. And it's, yes, we're punished in the end for watching. We're punished for engaging in their terrible, terrible lives. But I don't think it's enough, you know. And it's not the fault of the show. The criticisms that I have of things like Succession, it's not the shows themselves. The place in culture that they hold. It's the fact that a show like Succession is going to be called the most prominent TV show of the past few years, and yet almost nobody that I know in my life, non-white people, will have even heard of it, because it's speaking to a certain perspective of a certain people. And yes, you get your little slap on the wrist, but it's still very much held in a certain cultural safety net, almost. It's like they get punished and you get punished for indulging with them, but everyone is still very okay. The audience response reduces the real problem of what happened to this very individualistic, this character got in the way of what this other character wanted, and this character was mean to this character, and this and that, and I think, and that is how the show is designed, even if the commentary is speaking to something larger, even if the commentary is speaking so that there are larger powers at play, there are larger, things going on that are putting these characters in the position that they are, and have resulted in them all being the most terrible people on planet Earth. But I think that just the form of the show sort of perpetuates a certain, like I said, a certain cultural safety net. And the most that can happen at the end is a slap on the wrist. Like, we are aware that we're terrible, we are aware that we're doing these bad things, we're aware that we hold seats of power that are bad, and we acknowledge it, but we're still flying on our private jets, we're still eating. And even if the audience is leaving upset, just the response that they had suggests that they had a good time. What is the most common misunderstanding people have about your videos, and how do you feel about it? Well, besides the usual hate you're gonna see as a creator, and perhaps willful bad faith interpretations of your work. But what I would say, this isn't a bad thing, but I do think it's a misunderstanding, is that I always see when people like DM me and stuff, one of the compliments I always get is how much research goes into my work. And definitely nowadays, in my past few videos, I really try to do the research, but I don't know if I do as much research as they're giving me credit for. Like I mentioned in an earlier question, I am just a big nerd, and I like a lot of things. For example, my most viewed video, damn it, I wish it was not my most viewed video. It's not my best video by a long shot. The last one I made is way better than that one. But my video about how forced romance hurts people, for example, that's one thing I saw a lot. One of the great compliments that I received for that video was how much research went into it, but the thing is, one of the things that kind of burns me about that video is that I wish I'd done more research. Like, the only real research that I put into the video was looking up romanticism, just so I could ensure that I'm using the term correctly. And even now, I'm still not sure I was using the term correctly. But in terms of like all the media that I reference and discuss in the video is just media that I like. It's just stories that I know, and I didn't really have to do a lot of quote-unquote research for the video. I just really drew from stories that I know and discussed and compared how a certain theme was seen throughout these different pieces of media. Like, if I was doing that video now, I would have used Bell Hooks' book All About Love. I think that book, the insights in that book, could have added to what I was discussing and made the video way better than it was. Like, if you want to watch a YouTuber who does a lot of research, go to Intellectual Media. She's like the best. She is like one of the best channels on YouTube, just period. But oh god, the research that she puts into her stuff is just astounding. I don't know if it's necessarily that I'm this great researcher or I'm just really neurodivergent. Is this the path you want, or the path you are forced to be? Basically, if you had the chance to be anything you want, we still be a YouTuber. Damn.
I don't know.
What I will say is, I don't know if I'm good enough to do what I want to be doing right now. But this works. It's not perfect, but it works. And I'm not good. I don't think I am as good at being a YouTuber as I could be either. But this is what is working right now. Ideally, I would be in a forest somewhere making comic books, only ever emerging once every couple years to promote my work and then disappearing again for the next handful of years. But I think that what I'm doing right now is the best thing that I can do. So I'll say I am forced, but I'm grateful. Where do you want to take your art in the future? Movie, comic, TV? I like comic books. I hate movies. I don't hate movies. I hate making movies. Alright, here's the thing, right? I discuss movies. I like discussing movies. I like analyzing movies. I like sharing movies. I do film studies, right? That is like my major in university. I do film studies. I have been grateful not to have done that many courses which have required me to actually shoot a film. So far, I have done one. I have made one short film. And people liked it. The lecturers thought it was cool. Like, the lecturers liked it. My course mates thought it was great. I got a really high grade for it. And the actors thought it was great. But not one single aspect of the process of making a narrative film appeals to me in the slightest bit. Not writing the script, not editing, nothing. Definitely not shooting, not casting, nothing. I hate it. I hate making films. I actually do. The film turned out great. People liked it. Patrons, let me know if you want me to actually post that thing on here. It turned out good, but I did not enjoy the process of making movies at all. Oh my god. But I do have ideas for movies. I do have ideas for TV shows. I don't like making films, but somehow I can see myself being possessed one day and feeling the way that I do about drawing, in that I don't necessarily want to do this, but if I don't, I might die. And that leads perfectly into this question. Do you have any ideas for movies that you'd want to make in the future? What is it about? I do have ideas, but I am not telling. Do you think you'll do this forever, or do you think you'll retire from publishing reviews? I'm doing what I'm doing right now because I can, and I like it, and I feel compelled, but I don't think I'll be doing... I don't see myself stopping altogether, but I don't think that this is something I would do forever. No. Will I retire anytime soon? Probably not. At some point, eventually, You know, I don't see myself just stopping anything altogether. I see myself maybe not making a career out of it, but like I can see myself not being a YouTuber if I'm really. Am I really a YouTuber? Is that really what I'm calling myself? I can see myself stopping being a YouTuber, but still making YouTube videos. Well, not whatever exists at that point. You know, I can see myself not being a video essayist anymore, but still making a video essay every once in a while. You know, I don't want to say that I would stop altogether. Any of the things I'm doing altogether, whether those be comic books, whether those be regular essays, whether those be if I do eventually get possessed and run out and make a film. But I don't think I'd want to be defined by what I'm doing. Any of the things that I'm doing. Ever. Not even now. I don't want to be considered a video essayist, I don't want to be considered a YouTuber, I don't want to be considered a reviewer. I am a person who makes video essays, I'm a person who makes comic books, I'm a person who makes reviews. And I think that's a mindset change that I could benefit from. Just overall, you are not your work, you are not your entire being cannot be summarized in one word or one profession or one creative output, even if it feels like it sometimes. Even if I feel like if I don't draw I will die, that isn't true, and I need to learn that. What a way I was able to draw all of that out of a simple question. Like and subscribe. I probably, until we meet again. Hopefully this wasn't too rambly and messy, and or maybe it was. If you're still here, congratulations. Like and subscribe. Maybe more of this on this place eventually. Subscribe to the big channel if you're not. Bye.